Good afternoon guys, IT Shiesty here, and today I'll be teaching you the basics of netcat. So, what is netcat? Well, netcat, commonly abbreviated as NC, is a versatile networking utility used for reading and writing to a network connections. It can be used for a variety of tasks such as creating TCP or UDP connections, port scanning, file transfers, testing and debugging networks, and setting up a simple chat server. Netcat can be seen as the Swiss Army knife for networking troubleshooting and testing because of its flexibility and wide range of features. So, how does netcat work? Netcat operates on the TCP and UDP protocols and can be used both as a client and as a server. The basic idea behind netcat is that it allows you to open connections to other systems and listen for incoming connections, and then send or receive data. Basic netcat usage. Alright, so this is just going to be the simple syntax and two small examples showing how netcat works, and just a little try and a little test for you to do at home. So we're in this directory, so I'm just going to show you what a netcat command would usually look like. So we do the netcat NC abbreviation, and then the -L if we were listening. So if we wanted to listen on a client for an open port of 555, for example. So this is basically listening for some sort of connection, and if we wanted to connect to something, we wouldn't use the -L flag. We would just put in the local, we would put the domain name, which can be a www. Or it could even be an IP address, which is computer readable. And but for this example, so yeah, we can put the domain name, and then after the name of the host, then we will put the port that we're wishing to connect by. And by default, netcat uses TCP, the transmission protocol, a transmission control protocol connections to connect to its devices by netcat. But you can also use the U flag to indicate that you want the connection via UDP, the user datagram protocol, and then you would put in the domain here of the host here, and then you'd put your port. So now we're just going to get a little small example of a file transfer. So here we have the test.txt file, and in here we have nothing. There's nothing in this directory. So we're going to pretty much transfer this to here. So what we'll need to do is we'll have to use netcat -L, which is specifying listening. It's going to listen on port 5555. So now it's listening in here, and we're going to, oh actually sorry, I've got to set up. So we're going to use that, and then we're going to need to output whatever file that we receive to test.txt2. Now it's listening, and it's going to, whatever file comes through this connection, it's going to output to the txt2. So now in this file, in this terminal, you can see that we have one file called test.txt. If we cat that file, we see that we have a little string inside there. So what we're going to do is we're going to transfer that string into here, because this is listening on localhost. Well, it's listening on port, so port 555. Now we're going to initialize the connection with the NC, and now we're going to specify the host as localhost, and then we're going to put in the port here. And now we're going to need to redirect from a file, which is something that I'll get into a bit later, but basically the output of this file is getting redirected into here. And the reason why we wouldn't use the greater than redirection operator is because if this was over here, the terminal wouldn't be able to read that, and it would come up as an error because test2 is not a command, it's a file. and arguments for the netcat command have to come after. So therefore we're going to have to use the redirection less than to transfer this output of this text file into the netcat command, and that's going to transfer it over the wire to here. So let's just press enter. So here we see a little bit of action. This connection was closed, so when we ls here we can see that there's a file. So let's cat that file and see if we get our string, and whoop-dee-doo, we got the string. And so this string is now inside this file. So we just transferred a file pretty much using netcat over localhost, which is, like I said, not very useful in the real world or in the enterprise setting, but it's good for a little lesson to teach you how to do it. So now I'm going to show you just how to make a little simple chat server, which also is not that useful, but it is good for learning the basic of netcat. So you can specify the netcat command. So in this terminal we're going to specify we want to listen with the -L flag and the 555 for specifying port 5555. So now that listening mode has started, and now that's listening here. So on this part I'm going to use netcat and then localhost and then 555 to initialize the connection, and now a connection has been established. And to show that, I'm going to put in a little string in my terminal here to show, and it's going to get sent over the wire. So as you can see here, hello, it's just been transferred. So now I can also go in this terminal and say something back like, yeah, because this guy's getting a bit annoyed, so he doesn't want it to talk to that guy. So now we're going to ls whatever string, and it gets transferred. Whatever message you send to this terminal then gets output into this terminal. In the real world you could use this for some random reason, and you could set it up for it to be encrypted and from server to server communicating, or sorry, from client to server communicating from server to client, whatever. And yet it's not very useful what I showed you today, but it is good for learning. So that being said, this is going to be the end of the video. Thanks for watching. You just learned the basics of netcat. IT Shiesty out.